Hi friends and welcome back. In today's video we are at Lowe's looking for some pretty flowers to brighten up our house because it is officially springtime. Here we are, we made it to Lowe's. Normally we get our flowers from a little roadside garden center, but we got off to a late start this year and I said, well, we still need something. So we made it to Lowe's and we were pleasantly surprised. I don't know if it was a new shipment or we just got there at the right time because there was just a sea of beautiful flowers, so many different shapes and colors, and it was just perfect and exactly what we needed.
Which one?
This one.
Okay. And then one of these. There we go. Yeah. Yeah.
I wasn't exactly sure what it was that I was looking for, but when I came upon these hibiscus, I knew that I needed a couple of these. These are one of my favorite flowers. I think they are just so beautiful. They get so big and vibrant, and I do pretty good with these. Like I said, I don't have a green thumb, but there are a couple that I could handle, and they had from the potted kind to the tree kind of hibiscus. When I lived in Tennessee, I had a couple of hibiscus trees and they were beautiful on my patio. So I wasn't sure what I was going to get, but I was determined to get a couple of them because they're just so beautiful. And if I can't go to Hawaii, why not bring a little Hawaii to the mountains, right? Why not? There's my Glenn trying to push the cart on a slanted sidewalk out there in the distance, poor thing.
Okay, friends. So, on top of doing the car, which you're going to see in a separate video, or maybe at the beginning of this video, I don't know, I haven't figured it out yet. We did go to Lowe's, and I know nothing about planting, greenery, don't have a green thumb. I just know I like color. I know geraniums are a hardy plant, so that's what I went for. But then my eyes were like a little kid in the candy store, seeing all these beautiful colors. So we got all this stuff. I will show you when we put it all together. So stay tuned for that. But okay, I don't know what else to say. I lost my train of thought.
Here is just a sneak peek of how I put a couple of them in my front door area. What a difference a little pop of color makes. Here is a quick look of all the plants we got. They're looking kind of pathetic, so we had to hurry up and get them in the soil. As you can hear, we would pick the windiest day to plant these flowers. I mean, look at my hair. It was wild out there. The little flowers were falling over. But let me tell you, that soil stunk. You see my face? I'm thinking because it was wet from the rain. I don't know. Once we broke it up, it was not as bad. But oh my gosh, I was ready to hurl. And my husband, he didn't care. He just put his hands in there like nothing. Not me. I wasn't trying to touch that. So Glenn helped me by pouring the soil into our containers. These particular containers were for my banister on our back porch. It took a minute to break the soil up because, like I said, it was so compounded from being wet in the rain. So I was just over there messing around, trying to break it up a little bit. This way, when we go to put the plants in, it wasn't going to be just a big bunch of clumps, you know? So that's what I was doing, messing with that for a little bit. And it actually took a lot longer than I thought it would. but eventually we got it, and then we got to the fun part of actually starting to put the flowers in the soil.
That should probably be in the center. You want to dig a hole? I'll take it out there. You want to dig a hole in the center? Oh, it is dry.
Might need more dirt. I think we need more dirt.
Oh, that's the bottom. We'll leave it there. We can always add more dirt.
As you can see, we started to arrange the flowers in the containers, but the way I work things, I am just kind of a winging it type of girl. I didn't necessarily have a specific plan of how I wanted to arrange them. I had a general idea of how I wanted it to look, but I just really kind of just went with the flow of things. That's pretty much how I work a lot. I try to be more organized and more, meticulous, but that's just not who my personality is. And you know what? It's all good because it works for me. My biggest thing is I wanted it to be as balanced, meaning I wanted to have an equal amount of flowers on each side for both containers. So that was really my biggest thing that I was focused on. And those containers, even though they weren't as big as I thought they were, they really did take up a lot of dirt. So Glenn was steadily just being my Mr. Shovel and putting it all in there for me. So we work good as a team. He's a great helper, and I appreciate all that he does for me. And he puts up with all my shenanigans and all this filming. He doesn't complain. So thank you, babe. If you see this, I appreciate you so much. And it's really amazing how a pop of color makes a difference, because as you can see in the back, our neighborhood where we live in Pennsylvania is very luscious and green, and that is beautiful. But adding some vibrant colors just really make a world of difference. And I am a bright colored girl. I love bright nails, bright lipstick, bright shirts, and the same for my flowers. So the more bright colors, the better. They make me happy, they make me smile, and it just also makes your house come alive. It's springtime. Today was a crazy windy day, and that's okay, but it still livens up the house. So you will see in the near future how I put the pots and stuff, and you're gonna see obviously that I like even bright colored pots, but a pop of color in my pots also really just make a difference against the brick. So I'm very pleased with how all of this is coming together. Speaking of my bright colored pots, here they are. So I have just a few flowers left to plant, and me and Glenn are discussing what's gonna go where and how I want to arrange it. Because it's a smaller pot, I told him, because he was concerned, he was like, there's not gonna be enough space for all of that. But I purposely wanted it to be fuller because I just think it'll give it a nice look, having a little bit of extras in there. And I went ahead and I just stuffed it with the last of the flowers that I had, and it actually came out really pretty. So I'm just finalizing the last two pots that I have with the few flowers that I have left, and then we'll all be done. It was a lot of work, but a lot of fun. The plants really needed to get in the soil because this was probably a couple days after we purchased them. We didn't get to put them in the dirt right away. So they were just kind of sitting off to the side by the basketball court, and you could tell they needed water, and they really needed to get planted. So I said, before we waste our money, before they die off, before we even get to enjoy them, we have to go ahead and get this done. And I'm so glad we did, because it really, really makes a difference with how things look, especially when it's a fresh cut grass. And my husband, I can't remember if right before this or right after he cut the grass, so everything was nice and fresh, which made it just feel like a nice new beginning, is how I look at it anyway. When I picked out these cluster of flowers in these containers, for some reason I thought they were one big clump of flowers, but as you can see, they were all individual, and it was a little time consuming because they were very fragile, and Glenn was trying to be very delicate in handling them, so he had to put a little pressure to pull them out, and he was pinching the bottom. But that was something we learned. I was just looking at the colors. I was just looking at the colors of the flowers that I wanted. I had no idea that each thing was individual. So, lesson learned. We made it through. We got them out. I think there was only like maybe one casualty, but it turned out anyway. Okay, here's the final result of my front porch area. I forgot I had those rustic tins, but I really like the look that it gives, a nice balance there. This is the front porch. I still have some fine tuning I have to do, but again, I keep saying the term pop of color, but that's exactly what it is. Those flowers I fell in love with, have no idea what they are. I'll have to look them up again. I think they go in the ground, not 100% sure, but for now they're gonna stay in the pots, and they just really add a nice, it just makes my front come alive. I don't know how else to put it. The neighbors notice, it brings them joy, and that makes me even more happy. So this is a good beginning to the warm season, I guess you can say. Okay, now we're in my backyard up on my deck. I just wanted to show you how the planter boxes turned out. Because of so much greenery, having the color from the different flowers really just sets it off, and it just makes it like a whole different vibe up there. We still have a lot of work to do. I have to power wash and wash my cushions and stuff. So this is just the beginning, because I had to get the flowers in the boxes, but it really does bring me joy. I have such peace sitting out there, and look, my pretty blue planter containers. This is right in front of my garage doors. I like how they're nice and clustered, and pulling in my driveway, seeing that just again brightens my day. So it turned out real beautiful. And what can I say? My hibiscus, they are so amazing. These are definitely a tropical flower, but they are beautiful. My husband, he was so amazed the other day. He was like, have you seen the flowers? I'm like, what are you talking about? He said, the blooms, they're so big. So when we got them, it was more towards the evening, and they were, I think they close up at night. That's what I've been saying. I'll have to look into that further, but they're so big and colorful. We even got a yellow one on this. It's not a tree, it's just a flower plant, but we got yellow mixed in, which is pretty cool. But they are really beautiful. What's going on, Bruno? Bruno? Oh, you messed up. Of course, we couldn't finish a video out without showing you my Bruno. He's always there somewhere, right beside his person, which is my husband, Glenn. He loves that man so much. I can't believe I almost forgot about this hydrangea bush. Of course, I fell in love with it because of its color. It's beautiful, bright pink. I needed to find the perfect place to plant it because I knew this one was going in the ground, and I know they tend to get bigger. So we had a huge space in the front of our house, and I figured that is going to be the best location. So my husband's out there, and he had dug some dirt out and was just planting it for us. And I've never had one of these, so it's really a wait and see type of thing to see how it does. But so far, so good. And now to close out this video, I hope you guys enjoyed it. We were visited by our furry little rabbit friend. Just going to say goodbye. You guys, this was a fun one to make. I hope you enjoyed all the colors and the flowers we picked. And I will be seeing you on the next one, friends. Leave a comment. Give me any tips and tricks you may have. I always love to hear from you. Be blessed, stay uplifted, and remember to smile. I'll see you soon, friends. Bye.